Hello, welcome back to day 4. So, do you ever feel like there isn't enough time in the day? Well, surprise, there is enough time. You have choices about how you spend your time. Balancing what you need to do with what you want to do can lead to happiness and success. Time management is simply the process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between different activities. When you do this, you can have all the time you need to do all the things you want. There are benefits of good time management. When you manage your time effectively, these things can happen. You could be more productive and efficient in doing all the things at work and in life that you want to do. You could be more relaxed and have less stress because you'll be more organized, meaning less running around at the last minute trying to get everything done. You might have more time to achieve more of your life and your goals. You could start feeling more in control of your life. And it's possible you'll feel happier and able to think more clearly. One way to get a sense of how busy you are and how much free time you have, you can use the wheel on the left above. You can shade in the times where you are doing something. If, for example, you are sleeping, going to or coming from work, going to school, picking up the kids, cooking, cleaning, watching TV, getting ready for work, etc., shade in the times you are doing those things. For example, I sleep 10 to 6. I go to gym and then get ready for work from 6 to 8. Then I travel to work from 8 to 9. Then I work 9 to 5 and travel home from 5 to 6. Then I make dinner and clean up 7 to 8. And then I do yoga before bed from 9 to 10. That means that on work days, the only time that I am not doing anything is from 8 to 9. So I know not to schedule anything extra on work days. I also notice that I spend more time on my personal life than on my work life. Next, we will give you some time to answer the questions on this slide. You can answer them yes or no. There is no correct or incorrect response. This form is for you to help you become more organized with your time. The more honestly you respond, the more you will be able to help yourself. Did you learn anything new about yourself? If you feel discouraged, don't worry. Here are some time management techniques that you can do. Use a daily planner, whether paper or electronic. Use a planner that provides you with a daily view of your schedule. Reorganize your to-do list. Ask yourself, when am I going to do this? Then transfer each item off the list to a specific day and time, and you will do it. Keep your planner with you at all times. That way, you can immediately schedule commitments as they occur, and you won't have to try to remember to schedule them later. Take the time now to fill out the form you have been given. There is no correct or incorrect response. This form is for you to help you become more organized with your time. The more honestly you respond, the more able you will be able to help yourself. We'll give you 15 minutes. Did you find these forms helpful? You can use these forms anytime you feel like you need to be better organized. Okay, take a couple of minutes now to answer the questions on this quiz. Okay, here are the answers to the quiz. Number 1, early or on time. Number 2, all the time, especially when you're new. Number 3, they will be given on the first day. If not, ask. Number 4, jobs are unhappy with workers who have to leave work early or who arrive late due to childcare issues. Number 5, yes. Number 6, yes. And number 7, yes. Now, before we move on, let's review. You've learned a little bit about Americans. You've learned about laws that can protect you from workplace discrimination. You've learned how to decide what kind of job you want and how to search and apply for a job. You've learned how to interview for a job. And you've learned how to organize your life so that you can make time for a job. Now, what do you do once you get the job? Here are some suggestions. Before your first day, make sure you know how to get to your job before your first day. Practice. Take the bus 1 or 2 times to make sure you know the route. Drive to work 1 or 2 times to make sure you know the way. Secure daycare for your children before you start work. Make sure daycare covers all the hours that you are working. Many jobs are unhappy with workers who leave the job early due to problems with childcare. On your first day, show up early on your first day so that you can be sure to be on time. Do not be late to work. Your job should tell you about their workplace policies and rules. Those will include appropriate attire, cell phone usage, personal hygiene, when to take breaks from work, how to log your hours, how you're paid and how often, workplace holidays, how to ask for time off, and policies about leaving work early. Your job should also have paperwork for you to fill out, so bring all of your documents with you, such as your I-9 form for tax purposes, application if you only provided a resume and a cover letter, and any other paperwork and rules and policies which you might have to sign. It's a good idea to bring a translator and or your JFS employment case manager or intern with you to your first day of work. Do not bring family members to work with you. Okay. Now, when you get to work, and an American work environment might be very different for you. So here are some expectations about your behavior that can help you. Get along with your coworkers and your boss. Try to ask a lot of questions of your boss and your coworkers, especially if you need help or don't understand a task. It is better to ask for help than to do the wrong thing. It is okay if you ask for help, especially when you are new. That's how you learn. Be reliable and on time. Show up on time or early for work. Communicate with your supervisor if you will be late. Call your supervisor or ask someone to call your supervisor to tell them that you are running late and apologize to them. Provide an estimated time that you will arrive. When you are answering the phone at work, be sure you answer the phone professionally and in the way your supervisor wants you to answer. If they haven't told you, ask. Answering emails, make sure you understand how to use the company email system. Do not pretend, because you might do it wrong and this might upset your supervisor. Remember, you are new. It is okay to ask questions, and it is okay not to know how to do the job yet. When attending meetings, show up early or on time for meetings. Do not leave the meeting before it has ended unless you have an emergency. Do not answer your cell phone during the meeting. It is a good idea to silence your cell phone or turn it off during the meeting. When asking for time off, be sure that you ask for time off and that you are following your company policy. Do not ask at the last minute if possible. Be sure to ask for time off. Do not tell your supervisor when you will not be working. Expect that your supervisor will not approve your request. Always have a plan B. If you decide to take the time off without approval, your job will not be there for you when you return. All right. The next part is about work-life balance. People who spend most of their time working or thinking about work when they're home might have a poor work-life balance. Consider some of the consequences. Fatigue. When you're feeling tired, your ability to work productively and think clearly might suffer, which could lead to dangerous or costly mistakes. Poor health. Stress can worsen symptoms related to many medical conditions and put you at risk of substance misuse. Lost time with friends and loved ones. If you're working too much, you might miss important family events or milestones. This can leave you feeling left out and might harm your relationships. To find out if you have a work-life imbalance, ask yourself these questions. Are you working long hours and don't see your family very much? Is it hard for you to relax at the end of the day without a drink or some other substance? Do you look for personal worth only in your work success? Do you forget to measure your worth using other things like your family, friends, or hobbies? Is your relationship with your spouse strained? Does your health have some problems related to work? For instance, are you not getting enough sleep? Do you always feel stressed out? Do you forget to eat or take a break because you're working too much? Are you ignoring hobbies and activities outside of work that you used to like to do? If you'd answered yes to any of these questions, it might be time to look at some tips and techniques for regaining a work-life balance. Number one, start by setting limits. By setting limits and looking after yourself, you can achieve the work-life balance that's best for you. If you don't set limits, work can leave you with no time for the relationships and activities you enjoy. Consider these strategies. Manage your time. Give yourself enough time to get things done. Don't overschedule yourself. Find out where your time is going by filling out the chart on the right above. Think about what you do each day and how much time you spend doing it. Write down your answers on the time chart you have been given. We'll give you 5 minutes. Next, for step 2, determine the most urgent activity that you do. After you've written down what you do each day, categorize your activities using the box on the screen. You can see the example on the left. Use this example to fill out the form you've been given. We will give you 5 more minutes to do this. Okay, step 3. Create an ideal schedule. Thinking about the box you just filled out, what if you eliminated or gave to someone else the things that you placed in the not as important row? Imagine that you can do that. Create a schedule of your ideal work week where you are only doing the activities you placed in the important row. At first, think of this activity as a fantasy, something that is fun. If you make it too serious right away, you might find this too difficult to do. Consider your options. Is there something that can be done about your work schedule? If you are working 2 jobs, is there a better paying job out there that you could consider applying for? Can you change your work schedule? For instance, instead of working 2 jobs 5 days or 7 days a week, can you work 1 job 5 days a week and the other job 3 days a week? The more control you have over your hours and the amount of money you make, the less stressed out you're likely to be, and the more time you'll have with your family and friends. Step 4, run a test week. If you think it's possible, try to do the fantasy schedule you've just created. Try to do it for 1 week. At the end of the week, or sooner if you were unable to do a week, ask yourself, what was possible to actually do? Well, what made it possible to do these things? Was there a task you delegated that you could have discarded entirely? Did you realize that something you thought was urgent actually wasn't? What are the obstacles that prevented you from doing this schedule? It's likely that this will take some time to finesse before you come to a schedule that actually works. Try not to get frustrated and discard this whole task. Keep trying over and over until you find a schedule that works. Number 2, learn to say no. Do you say yes to tasks in order to prevent yourself from feeling guilty for saying no? Do you say yes to tasks because you feel like you have to? If you answered yes to either of these questions, then you might have a problem saying no. In the US, if you are unable to set limits for yourself, this can lead to chronic stress. This can become a problem because chronic stress can negatively impact your work and your family. So here's a question. Are you being given too much to do at work? Here's an idea. How comfortable would you be with sharing your concerns and discussing possible solutions with your employer? Or here's another idea. Do you have a union representative you can talk with about your concerns? Here's another question. Do you feel like you must work extra hours or more than 1 job in order to provide for your family? Here's an idea. Talk with your spouse about your concerns and discuss possible solutions. Number 3, detach from work. When you're done working each day, try to find a way to mentally and emotionally detach from your job and begin transitioning into your home life. For instance, you can start by thinking about your family and what you'll do once you get home. Once you're home, change your clothes and do an activity with your spouse and or your kids right away. After you've taken these 3 steps, see if you can begin to focus on these activities. Relaxation and self-reflection. Regularly set aside time for activities that you enjoy. Hobbies can help you relax, take your mind off of work, and recharge. Discover activities you can do with your spouse, family, and friends. Also, consider, how do you find peace in each day? Do you have any time to reflect on what has happened to you during the day? It is said that self-reflection is about maintaining a personal compass and remaining grounded throughout life. Take a couple of minutes to think about answers to the questions you see on the screen. Ask yourself, am I really where I want to be? What are my dreams and goals? What have I already achieved? What do I fear? What makes me happy? For many people, hobbies and interests answer these questions. Some people answer these questions with exercise. Other people have specific places and times that allow them to switch off. Can you disconnect from work during your daily prayers if you pray? Are there other times in your day, like riding the bus or taking a walk during lunch break, where you can switch off and center yourself? Here are some other things you can do. You can develop a support system. At work, join forces with coworkers who can cover for you, and vice versa, when family conflicts arise. At home, enlist trusted friends and loved ones to pitch in with childcare or household responsibilities if you ever need to work late. Exercise for health. Your health affects all areas of your life. It is central to having a work-life balance. Exercise has been proven to play an essential role in both physical and mental health. You don't have to go to the gym, although you can if you want. You can just go for a walk, watch what you eat, get up and move around during the day. Or you can go to the gym and get on the treadmill, ride a bike, or swim. You want to get proper sleep. An often underestimated factor of one's overall health is healthy sleep. Sleep deprivation can result in poor performance, mood swings, and many other risks. A person's sleep is often a good indication of how well they are balancing their work with their life. Professor James Gongwish of Columbia University in New York City insists that healthy sleep is an important factor in workplace productivity. Yet, healthy sleep is an extremely complex issue and cannot always be resolved simply. Many people have problems falling asleep because of their own worries, or they have nightmares from truly terrible experiences, or they just have too much stress in their private lives. If you are having these experiences, it can sometimes be helpful to talk about these with others who you trust, including a counselor. There are also anonymous helplines that you can call, such as the free, confidential, 24/7 National Mental Health Hotline at 866-903-3787. Other things that can contribute to healthy sleep are a healthy diet, exercise, your state of mind, where you sleep and in what kind of housing. Apartments can vary in quality, for instance. Loud noise level at night, too much lighting in your room and or outside of your window. So if you are interested in seeing a sleep specialist, you can contact your health insurance provider or talk with your employment case manager about getting health insurance. You can make choices. You can change your life. You decided to come here. Now you can take control of your life again. Okay, the last part of this training is about the anti-discrimination laws and protections here in the US. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The following are the workplace anti-discrimination laws enforced by the EEOC in chronological order. You can learn more about these on your own time. For now, you can see that there are many anti-discrimination laws. Even though all these laws exist, the state of Michigan does not feel that these laws covered employees adequately. Thus, Michigan passed the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act. This act prohibits employment discrimination in Michigan based on height, weight, HIV/AIDS status, marital status, misdemeanor arrest record. In addition, because the city of Ann Arbor did not think Michigan's laws were sufficient, it passed the City of Ann Arbor Non-Discriminatory Ordinance in 2017. This ordinance states, no person shall discriminate in the hire, employment, compensation, work classifications, conditions, or terms, promotion or demotion, or termination of employment of any individual. No person shall discriminate in limiting membership in any labor union or apprenticeship program. No person shall adopt, enforce, or employ any policy or requirement which has the effect of creating unequal opportunities according to actual or perceived age, arrest record, color, disability, educational association, familial status, family responsibilities, gender expression, gender identity, genetic information, height, HIV status, marital status, national origin, political beliefs, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, source of income, veteran status, victim of domestic violence or stalking, or weight when obtaining housing, employment, or public accommodation. Sexual harassment at the workplace. The EEOC defines sexual harassment at the workplace as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when it is stated explicitly or implicitly that you must be sexual in order to keep working there. When doing or rejecting the act is used to decide future employment, or when the harassment has created an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment for the person being harassed. Sexual conduct becomes unlawful when it is unwelcomed, not invited, and is received as undesirable or offensive. These following behaviors are examples of sexual harassment: accidental collisions and touching, brushing, rubbing, or hugging, grabbing, making sexual offers, making offensive sexual jokes or sexual remarks, threats, and pressuring another for sexual favors. Posting sexually explicit or implicit pictures, art, cartoons, graffiti, etc. Sending sexually explicit or implicit emails and faxes. Staring, hovering, and making sexual gestures. In terms of policy, protection against unlawful harassment is a civil rights obligation for employers with 15 or more employees. The EEOC has published guidelines on what information should be communicated to employees through an employer's harassment policy. These guidelines advise employers to include in their policies a clear explanation of prohibited conduct and reporting procedures for employees. It is particularly important for an employer's policy to include more than one avenue for reporting incidents of alleged harassment. An employer's policy also must include a provision stating that an employee will not suffer retaliation for making good faith complaints of alleged harassment. In addition to sexual harassment, there are other forms of unlawful harassment. Any harassment that targets an employee's race, color, religion, gender, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, transgender or identity, or any other legally protected status in Ann Arbor, the state of Michigan, or the United States of America. Examples of this unlawful harassment include acts of discriminatory intimidation, ridicule, or insults that create an abusive working environment. Expressions of stereotypical views that make a person feel stigmatized, excluded, or other. Verbal and physical conduct that stigmatizes or shows hostility or disgust toward an individual because of their race, color, gender, religion, age, national origin, disability, sexual orientation, transgender identity, or any other legally protected status in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or the U.S. In other words, if you think negatively of someone, keep your opinion to yourself. Sharing it can be interpreted as harassment. Don't act out your thoughts either, because your actions can hurt others. So through the course of this training, you've learned interpersonal relations with Americans, renting rules and laws, learned what to do before applying for a job, decision-making skills, applying for a job, what kind of job, how to look for a job, filling out a job application, preparing your resume, preparing a cover letter, employment laws, interviewing skills, thank you letters, time management, work expectations, and life-work balance. It has been my pleasure to walk you through these basics. If you have any further questions about anything in this training, please ask your case manager to help you. Good luck with your new life here in America. We are happy to have you here.